As more and more people are getting back to travel, and we're seeing some of the highest rates of travel this summertime here in the States and across the countries, what we're finding is that more and more people are asking the question, how am I able to take advantage of sleeping when I am not in the ideal condition? When I'm on a plane traveling and I'm going to do that overnight flight and I know that I need to get some rest before I arrive in the next place and it's the morning and I'm going to try to stay up all day to keep my circadian rhythm going, to work through the jet lag. But what can I do to actually be able to get quality sleep while on a plane? And what we do find through the research is that there are lots of tips that you can follow to help prepare your body to be able to rest and sleep when it's not in the most ideal of situations. And many of these tips and strategies can apply not just to a plane, but if you are if you're camping, if you are traveling in other modalities, or even if you might be staying somewhere that it's not the most comfortable sleep setting. We know that we want to work with our circadian rhythm to be able to really boost that sleep inertia and for our body to know when it is time to sleep. If we're going to be shifting to another time zone, trying to start to make those adjustments in our schedule days earlier. But we can use, for instance, light to our advantage. We know that when it's bright out, it sends messages to the brain telling us to be awake. So if we know that we're going to want to immediately fall asleep when we're on the plane, we can do things, for instance, like wearing sunglasses, even if we're inside or in the airport, to start to reduce the amount of light that our eyes are perceiving. So the messages being sent to the brain are that it's getting darker and it's time to prepare for sleep. That's also why we can be using eye masks and other things to help to reduce the light exposure when we're on the plane. And even if worst case scenario, using those sunglasses on the plane to help to darken that before we put the eye mask on and it's time to go to sleep. Of course, also avoiding having technology very close to our face and having it be in night mode to again reduce the light exposure, and then using that in the opposite direction to get more light once we land and want to stay awake. We also know that there are lots of noises that we're going to be hearing while we're traveling. So if you're comfortable wearing earplugs to be able to block out some of the sporadic noises, maybe you have somebody that's sitting in the chair next to you that may be snoring, things to help to reduce and to muffle some of that noise so that you don't experience the non-specific sleep arousals that will jolt you more often. For longer flights, when they may be waking you up for meals, for many people that disruption of falling asleep, waking up an hour later, trying to fall back to sleep, it's a possibility that you can consider eating before getting on the plane and then declining the meal that's earlier in the evening, or determining that you may want to decline the breakfast so you can sleep for an hour longer on the flight instead of having such disrupted and fragmented sleep. Of course, we know refraining from caffeine before we're getting onto the plane and before we're having to sleep so that we don't have the chemicals impacting us there, as well as the sugar. Doing our best to avoid using alcohol to make ourselves feel sleepy, because we know that then a few hours later our body could be jolted awake because of those balance of chemicals. Sedation is not sleep. So I want to remind people of that. And making sure that we are hydrating. While we don't want to drink too much water for our bladders waking us up, it is common to get dehydrated when we're sleeping and when we're traveling. So a little extra hydration can help us to sleep through and help with that sleep inertia as well. And there are many other things that we can do to build up our sleepiness. For instance, trying to work out before getting on the plane so that we do feel more tired and our body has more of that inertia to want to sleep. And of course, there are many gadgets out there for the pillows and the blankets and such, but these are some of the behavioral strategies that we can do regardless of what else we're bringing with us on the plane to help us to be able to attempt to get more restful sleep. Be well.